In a world of tweets and Snapchats, it's easy to forget that history is full of fascinating stories just waiting to be discovered. Take the Roman Empire, for example. A global superpower that ruled for centuries, the Roman Empire was a complex and often contradictory world that still has much to teach us today. The Roman Empire started in 27 BC, but there's a lot that happened before that. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will take a look at the Roman Empire. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and learn a little about one of the most influential empires in history. You might just be surprised by what you discover. Ancient Rome expanded from a little town on the Tiber River in central Italy in the 7th century BC to an empire. Following Julius Caesar's rise and collapse in the 1st century BC, Rome became an empire after 450 years as a republic. The Roman Empire's lengthy and glorious reign of its first emperor, Augustus, inaugurated a golden era of peace and prosperity. By contrast, the Roman Empire's downfall and fall by the 5th century AD was one of the most catastrophic implosions in human civilization history. According to tradition, Romulus and Remus, twin sons of Mars, the god of battle, established Rome in 753 BC. After being abandoned in a basket on the Tiber by a king of neighboring Alba Longa and saved by a she-wolf, the twins survived to vanquish that monarch and create their own city on the river's banks. After murdering his brother, Romulus became the first ruler of Rome, which bears his name. A non-hereditary sequence of Sabina, Latin, and Etruscan rulers followed. Romulus, Numa Pompilius, Tullus Hostilius, Ancus Marcius, Lucius Tarquinius Priscus, Servius Tullius, and Tarquinius Superbus, or Tarquin the Proud, are the 7 mythological rulers of Rome. All rulers following Romulus were chosen by the Senate and were known as Rex, or King in Latin. The monarchy of Rome ended in 509 BC with the overthrow of its 7th king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, who was regarded by ancient historians as harsh and dictatorial in comparison to his beneficial predecessors. A popular rebellion was claimed to have erupted in response to the king's son's rape of virtuous noblewoman, Lucretia. Whatever the reason, Rome evolved from a monarchy to a republic, a society based on res publica, or people's property. Esquiline Hill, Palatine Hill, Aventine Hill, Capitoline Hill, Quirinal Hill, Viminal Hill, and Salian Hill are the 7 hills that make up Rome. The monarch's authority was delegated to 2 councils, who were chosen every year. They also served as army commanders-in-chief. Though chosen by the public, the magistrates were generally recruited from the Senate, which was controlled by patricians, or descendants of Romulus's initial senators. Politics in the early republic was defined by protracted conflict between patricians and plebeians, or common people, who finally gained some political power after years of concessions from patricians, including their own political organizations, the tribunes, who could originate or reject legislation. The earliest Roman legal system, known as the 12 Tables, was engraved on 12 bronze tablets and publicly exhibited in the Roman Forum about 450 BC. These rules included legal process, civil rights, and property rights, and they served as the foundation for all subsequent Roman civil law. By roughly 300 BC, true political power in Rome was concentrated in the Senate, which at the time consisted of only aristocratic and affluent plebeian families. The Roman state expanded exponentially in both size and power during the early republic. Despite being ravaged and burnt by the Gauls in 390 BC, the Romans recovered under the leadership of the military hero Camillus, finally taking control of the whole Italian peninsula by 264 BC. The Punic Wars were fought between Rome and Carthage, a powerful city-state in northern Africa. After the first 2 Punic Wars, Rome had complete control of Sicily, the western Mediterranean, and most of Spain. During the 3rd Punic War, the Romans seized and destroyed Carthage and sold its remaining residents into slaves, establishing a Roman colony in northern Africa. Simultaneously, Rome expanded its authority eastward, conquering King Philip V of Macedonia in the Macedonian Wars and converting his realm into another Roman province. The Romans gained enormously from interaction with superior civilizations such as the Greeks, and their military conquests directly contributed to their cultural evolution as a society. Around 240 BC, the first Roman literature arose, with translations of Greek classics into Latin. The Romans would later acquire much of Greek art, philosophy, and religion. Under the weight of the expanding empire, Rome's intricate political structures started to disintegrate, ushering in a period of internal unrest and bloodshed. The rich-poor divide expanded as affluent landowners forced small farmers off public land, while access to government became more restricted to the more privileged strata. Attempts to remedy these societal issues, such as Tiberius's and Gaius Gracchus's reform initiatives, resulted in the reformers' deaths at the hands of their opponents. Gaius Marius, a commoner whose military skill propelled him to the rank of consul for the first of 6 terms in 106 BC, was the first of a succession of warlords who would rule Rome in the late Republic. By 91 BC, Marius was facing assaults from his opponents, especially his colleague general Sulla, who rose to power as a military dictator in 82 BC. Following Sulla's retirement, one of his erstwhile followers, Pompey, served briefly as consul before fighting victorious military operations against pirates in the Mediterranean and Mithridates' army in Asia. During this time, Marcus Tullius Cicero, elected consul in 63 BC, notably crushed the patrician Catiline plot and established himself as one of Rome's finest orators. When Pompey returned to Rome, he created the shaky First Triumvirate with the rich Marcus Licinius Crassus, who defeated a slave insurrection headed by Spartacus in 71 BC, and another emerging star in Roman politics, Gaius Julius Caesar. After achieving military fame in Spain, Caesar returned to Rome in 59 BC to compete for the consulship. Caesar obtained the governorship of 3 prosperous provinces in Gaul in 58 BC as a result of his alliances with Pompey and Crassus. He then went about conquering the remainder of the territory for Rome. The triumvirate was ended when Pompey's wife Julia died in 54 BC and Crassus was slain in combat against Parthia the following year. With traditional Roman politics in disarray, Pompey took over as single consul in 53 BC. Caesar's military fame in Gaul and expanding fortune had overshadowed Pompey's, and the latter had joined forces with his Senate colleagues to gradually weaken Caesar. Caesar and one of his armies crossed the Rubicon, a river that separates Italy from Cisalpine Gaul, in 49 BC. Caesar's invasion of Italy sparked a civil war from which he emerged as Rome's permanent ruler in 45 BC. Julius Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March a year later by a gang of his adversaries headed by the Republican aristocrats Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius. In what became known as the Second Triumvirate, Consul Mark Antony and Caesar's great-nephew and adoptive successor, Octavian, joined forces to destroy Brutus and Cassius and split power in Rome with ex-consul Lepidus. Tensions arose by 36 BC, with Octavian commanding the western provinces, Antony the east, and Lepidus Africa, and the triumvirate was soon disbanded. In the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, Octavian defeated Antony and Queen Cleopatra of Egypt. Antony and Cleopatra committed suicide as a result of their humiliating loss. Octavian was the only ruler of Rome and its territories by 29 BC. To escape Caesar's destiny, he made his position as absolute ruler acceptable to the people by ostensibly restoring the Roman Republic's political institutions, but in fact keeping all actual authority for himself. Octavian claimed the title of Augustus in 27 BC, becoming Rome's first emperor. After a century of turmoil and corruption, Augustus's reign restored morale in Rome and ushered in the renowned Pax Romana, 2 centuries of peace and prosperity. He implemented major social reforms, gained countless military triumphs, and permitted the flourishing of Roman literature, art, architecture, and religion. Augustus reigned for 56 years, backed up by a massive army and a rising cult of loyalty to the emperor. When Augustus died, the Senate exalted him to godhood, beginning a long-running custom of deification for popular emperors. Augustus's dynasty featured the unpopular Tiberius, a murderous and unstable Caligula, and Claudius, who is most known for leading his troops to Britain's conquest. The line terminated with Nero, whose indulgences depleted the Roman coffers and eventually led to his downfall and death. In the chaotic year after Nero's death, 4 emperors seized the throne. The fourth, Vespasian, and his successors, Titus and Domitian, were known as the Flavians. They strove to moderate the excesses of the Roman court, restore Senate power, and promote public welfare. Titus won his people's love for his leadership of the rehabilitation operations after the catastrophic Vesuvius eruption, which devastated the cities of Herculaneum and Pompeii. The Reign of Nerva, who was chosen by the Senate to succeed Domitian, heralded the start of another golden age in Roman history, during which 4 emperors, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus, and Marcus Aurelius took the throne peacefully, succeeding one another by adoption rather than hereditary succession. With triumphs over the kingdoms of Dacia and Parthia, Trajan extended Rome's frontiers to their greatest extent in history. Hadrian, his successor, fortified the empire's borders and carried on his predecessor's efforts of maintaining internal stability and enacting administrative reforms. Rome was peaceful and prosperous under Antoninus Pius, but the reign of Marcus Aurelius was characterized by warfare, including wars against Parthia and Armenia, and the invasion of Germanic tribes from the north. When Marcus became sick and died near the battlefield of Vindobona, he defied convention by naming his 19-year-old son Commodus as his heir. Commodus's debauchery and ineptitude brought the Roman emperor's golden period to a dismal end. His assassination by his own ministers triggered a new era of civil war, from which Lucius Septimius Severus emerged triumphant. During the 3rd century, Rome had a near constant cycle of strife. There were a total of 22 emperors, several of whom were assassinated by the same warriors who had driven them to power. Meanwhile, external challenges plagued the empire and eroded its wealth, including German and Parthian invasion and Goth incursions across the Aegean Sea. Diocletian's rule momentarily restored peace and prosperity in Rome, but at a terrible cost to the empire's integrity. Diocletian split power into a tetrarchy and shared the title of Augustus with Maximian. Galerius and Constantius were designated as Diocletian and Maximian helpers and chosen successors. Diocletian and Galerius oversaw the Eastern Roman Empire, while Maximian and Constantius commanded the Western Roman Empire. After Diocletian and Maximian left power, the system's stability fell dramatically. In 324, Constantine emerged from the power conflicts as the only emperor of a reunified Rome. He relocated the Roman capital to Byzantium, which he dubbed Constantinople. Constantine established Christianity as Rome's official religion at the Council of Nicaea in 325. The Roman unity under Constantine proved ephemeral, and the Eastern and Western empires were once again separated 30 years after his death. Despite its ongoing war with Persian soldiers, the Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, would survive for centuries. In the West, the empire was beset by internal strife as well as external dangers, mainly from Germanic tribes already settled inside the empire's borders, such as the Vandals, and was slowly losing money owing to incessant battle. Rome gradually succumbed to the weight of its own bloated empire, losing provinces one by one. Britain about 410, Spain and Northern Africa around 430. Around 450, Attila and his savage Huns attacked Gaul and Italy, severely shaking the empire's foundations. Odovacar, a Germanic ruler, took leadership of the Roman army in Italy in September 476. Odovacar's warriors named him King of Italy after deposing the last Western emperor, Romulus Augustus, putting an ignoble conclusion to ancient Rome's long, violent history. The Roman Empire had fallen completely. This brings us to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Also, click on the notification bell to get notified every time we upload a new video.